big deal if you've got one of this kind of rolling pin. No big deal if you are using an empty wine bottle. I have totally done that before. Or if you have a little kiddo-sized rolling pin. Yeah, just like Kira's. That's totally cool too. So what we're doing is taking this batch of dumpling dough, which is, I'm not sure if you guys are using the same one for the class, but I do 2 cups of flour, 3/4 to a cup of very hot water, and just a pinch of salt. You knead it for a few minutes. You did some kneading today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you kind of punched it a bunch, and you rolled it against the table. Yeah. And then you divide it into 4. So we've got 4 little balls here. And I'm covering 2 of them with a damp cloth so they don't dry out. And then Kira's got one and I've got one. So we're just kind of rolling them into pancakes. So Kira's doing one with her really cool kiddo rolling pin. I'm doing one with this dowel here. And here, Mom, you want to do one too? Sure. You can do it with this big, heavy pastry rolling pin. Here we go. And the idea, which is something that we used to love as kids, is to get yourself a flat pancake, cover it with scallions and sesame oil, although you can also use regular oil if you like. And then you're going to be rolling it up into...
It already has quite a lot of flour.
It does already have quite a lot of flour. You're going to roll it up into a snake and then coil it around into a snail. And Irene will show you how those work. We'll show you how they work. Snake snail is all how we always used to talk about it as kids, and the idea is to create layers in the dough so you have a nice flaky scallion pancake.
Mom, can you help me?
Of course I can.
Yeah. And does anyone here happen to watch the Great British Baking Show, perhaps?
We love that show. We love it.
Well, for some of us who know that show, or if you've ever made a croissant before, you know that the key to having lots of flaky, delicious layers is the process called lamination. And so when we are laminating, essentially we're just making sure that we have alternating layers of oil or fat. In the case of croissants, it would be butter, alternating with the layers of dough. And the butter really provides an opportunity for when the dough starts to cook and it releases steam, the layer on top will sort of get pushed up by the steam. And so everyone gets pushed up to create a big flaky croissant or scallion pancake. So that is the magic of lamination. And I just wanted to make a note that you can do this with scallions, especially if you have some scallions sprouting on your kitchen counter, which I know you do, right? Of course.
I just started a new little batch because I harvested the last one, and it was really amazing how quickly they grew. Yes! Yeah, Erin! All right.
I love it. Okay, and then, you know, of course,
satisfying. All right,
you can also use any other herb or delicious tidbit that you have hanging out, or maybe like getting old in the fridge, which I always have those. So I also have some Thai basil here, as well as some dill. So I thought that we would experiment together with a couple different kinds of herbs today.
Mom, I can do it.
Okay, so I am painting my dough with sesame oil.
Mom,
I like it for the flavor. I can put some on yours, but you can also use regular oil. Mom and I, right, we just discovered that Mom doesn't usually use sesame oil. She just uses regular oil. So to each their own, or to each their current pantry contents. Sesame oil if you've got it for the flavor, but regular oil, vegetable oil, neutral oil, olive oil, you know, whatever you want.
Yeah, don't forget a little flour so that your rolling pin doesn't stick to the dough.
Yeah, you may or may not need it depending on how sticky your dough is or how sticky your counter is, but Mom's is sticking, mine's not. Have it around, it's useful to have. And then you can use a brush to brush on the sesame oil. I often just use my fingers. It's totally up to you.
Okay, and look, my dough's bigger than your dough.
Whoa.
I like it really thin. Okay.
Okay, so
Okay, good job.
Scallions.
All right, let's get some olive oil.
Can I have some?
Yes. Can you sprinkle those all over? So you want to try to cover the whole thing.
Do we have any?
Wow.
Whoa!
All right.
Kira, I heard you did something special for your mommy for Mother's Day this morning.
What did you bring me this morning?
Breakfast in bed.
Oh, wow. And what did she have for breakfast, Kira?
Cheesy noodles and mango.
Wow.
And a big cup of coffee.
Easy noodles. You know exactly what your mommy likes. She is so lucky.
And
Okay.
How many bowls of cheesy noodles did you have while you were waiting for me to wake up?
2.
This whole family really loves cheesy noodles.
Okay.
How old is Kira? Kira, how old are you?
Almost 5.
How
How
many
old
days
you,
till you
Piper?
turn 5?
10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
Goodness, that's awesome. Piper's 4 years old too. After 4, she's gonna
Oh.
be 5.
Hi. Oh, look, there's another girl. Right up there.
Oh.
You see?
Say hi. Hi.
We are
All right.
counting very carefully down 10 days right now.
So, okay, can everybody see the pancakes or should we take the,
They can see Irene's right there, see?
yep, you see Irene. Okay,
Oh.
good.
All right. So
It would be nice to have a picture of the 3.
Shall we move on to snakes?
yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Are you ready, Kira?
Oh,
roll
Do you
into
want
a
to
jelly
throw any
roll.
salt on?
Roll. I do want to throw some.
Yeah, we forgot. A little bit of salt on top of the oil and scallions. A little, yeah.
Do you remember how to salt from on high? If you salt from up high, yeah, then it spreads out more.
Okay, yeah, just a tiny bit. I'm a low sodium person, so just a tiny bit. There we go.
Just did a tiny bit.
All right, and now we're gonna snake it up.
Snake it up.
So that means roll it, roll it, roll it. Roll it.
All right.
Roll it,
And then
Who's got a snake?
Kira,
roll it,
Kira,
roll it,
after we
roll
make
it.
a snake, what kind of animal do we make?
A snake.
A snail.
A
Can you show us?
snail.
And what do we do after the snake?
Ready?
Snail.
Remember like this? Curve.
Start in the mid, yeah, start on one side and roll it into a snail.
And you can tuck the little end underneath so you got it like this.
There we go.
Like a cinnamon bun kind of.
There you go.
Yeah, look at that.
All right. Next.
Whack! Are we gonna ninja whack them? Ninja whack!
Yours is kind of falling apart.
There's
All right.
What you can do is if your snail's starting to fall apart, you can tuck the snake tail underneath so it makes a little flat snail.
Okay, want your rolling pin?
Snail whacking is not the technical next step, but we do enjoy it in this house.
All right.
All right. And then should we roll these out, May?
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Roll
All
it
right.
out. Roll
I
it
So-
out. Whoops. Did you see that squirt? That oil came up and squirted your mom right in the-
Mom snail farted.
Oops. Oopsie. No, don't say that word.
It's okay, Mom. Everybody farts.
Oh, no, don't say that word.
So it's okay if your snail breaks because your
We're gonna roll
scallion
it.
pancake is still going to be delicious. And if you've done a dumpling class with us, you've probably heard about not worrying too much if your dumplings look a little funny because they're still going to taste good. So
Okay.
Ow.
we are all, if you have, escaping scallions or oil farting snails, it's all good.
All right, a little more.
Escaping scallions.
Woo, look at that. All right.
All right. And so as we start to roll it thin, you can see that the scallions are starting to poke through or even pop out. And basically, when we made the snake and the snail, we made lots of little layers, right, of alternating fat and dough. And then we stretched them really, really thin so that we could have those nice, thin, flaky layers that we are looking for. May, how many more do you have to make?
Wow.
Just
Why are
one.
so many of them
Just
coming
one?
out?
Okay.
Okay, and then do you guys do another snake and a snail?
So if you like, you can do another round of snake and snail with your Scallion pancake for many layers.
I like to do that.
Mom's gonna do another round. I am not, just to show you the simplest version, which is right here.
My mom used to do 3 snakes and snails.
3 snakes and snails, that's so many.
What about 100?
What about 100? That would be so many snakes and snails.
Only Julia Child could do 100. Do you know her?
You have that book, remember? You have that book about Julia Child and her friend Simca?
Yeah.
And how they like to cook?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she could do close.
Okay. So I'm gonna make a dill pancake over here.
Mm.
I have a little dill plant that is going crazy.
Whoa, here, can I help you? Let's do another roll down, okay? Let's make it, Okay, let's do it.
Mom, Mom, do you want to tell everyone about your favorite ingredient to grow and cook with?
My favorite ingredient?
Oh, boy.
You know, that you grow on your farm?
Oh yeah, I grow shiitake mushrooms on logs that I cut down on my property in New Hampshire. So we have over 200 logs that we have inoculated with
Hey,
shiitake.
Mom, look what's
shiitake
happening to
spawn.
mine.
That looks awesome.
No
It's okay.
problem.
It just you can always press it
So we
together.
put mushrooms in lots of recipes, and we sell them at farmers markets around the Boston area.
And Mom, have you always been a mushroom farmer?
Well, I've always loved mushrooms, and it turns out my cousin, whom I met in Beijing in 1980, was a mushroomologist or a mycologist, and she taught me all about how to grow mushrooms on wood. And then 40 years later, I decided to try it. So there we go. Whew. All right, look at this. We're gonna.
May, are there any other like herbs or leftovers that you would recommend people could try putting into their scallion pancake?
Well, one thing that we have been experimenting with recently, which is by no means traditional, but
Are you going to do another one?
I am going to do another one.
I
but-
want to do another one.
All right, why don't we do this one together? Something that is of particular love for Kira
Mom.
is cheese. We're going to put cheese in our last scallion pancake.
All right.
Oh,
We do-
good idea.
Do oil.
Let's do oil. So since we're doing cheese, I think we should do a little olive oil. And
Here,
we'll
I'll
do
take
some
her pancake and
scallions.
I'll flatten it out.
And we're going to do some cheese.
Here, should I do a
also-
cheese pancake too?
What's that?
Should I do a cheese pancake too?
Anybody want any more olive oil?
Always with more cheese. I think that's our
Right.
motto. More cheese or put an egg on it, one of the two.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've regrown celery leaves from my kitchen windowsill growing experiment.
Mom, I'll roll it up and you
Great.
put it into a snail. And then
Why don't you pull out some cheese and do some sprinkling?
Okay, good.
And I'm a little curious about where everyone is joining us from. Are folks in Boston or nearby?
We're in Ohio.
Ohio! Awesome.
Ohio, so cool.
New York City.
Woohoo!
Great.
Needham, Massachusetts.
Nice.
Needham. Yeah.
Beverly, Massachusetts.
Nice.
Oh, great.
Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Cambridge.
We're in JP.
Yay.
I love JP.
Awesome.
Needham, Massachusetts.
Exactly.
So, Kira, do you want to roll up your
Do we have
cheesy
a question?
scallion pancake?
and then you'll
And
snail.
then I'll snail it for you.
Yeah, what's your question?
The question is, as I'm doing my snakes and my snails, do I add more oil each time or just the first time?
So it doesn't.
So I would say if you're doing more snakes and snails, add a little bit more oil each time, because that's how you're really building up all those layers by doing it
Okay.
multiple times.
And add a little more dry flour so everything doesn't really stick together.
Yeah.
Because
Otherwise, you
have
end up
all that
sliding all
oil.
over your counter.
it's gonna stick. I mean, yeah.
Right. I'm gonna go find some cheese. I'll be right back.
The funny thing is, almost every time we do all these classes together with my sister, my mom, and I, we discover that all three of us have different ways of doing things. So I added no flour to mine while rolling and snaking, snailing, and rolling. It kind of depends on what you've got, and if you are having sticking or not, you might be able to get away with no extra flour at all. But Mom's added probably 3 scatterings of flour to hers.
Mom,
There we go.
share your
Okay.
You know, you might need it, you might not.
There you go.
Oh, thank you, Kira. You made a beautiful snake, and now I'm gonna coil it up into a snail, and we're gonna roll it out, and it's gonna be so cheesy and good.
All right, I'm making a Parmesan pancake.
All right. Ooh, that sounds
You
good.
just throw those all on top so you get it all. There you
No.
go.
May I ask you a question?
I don't know how
Of
much
course.
is made.
When we were making the sauce with Winston
Mom,
in
how
the previous class, did he cook the sauce or does he just mix the ingredients together?
I think he just mixes them together.
Oh, okay. So they don't
Yeah.
get heated up together. Okay.
We can do a sauce demo also. I've got a couple of ingredients, so I'll show you how I make my sauce. And that's another thing that everybody in the family does differently.
Oh, okay.
I'm also cooking a pancake right now. Basically, just get a frying pan, and you want a
I mean,
decent amount of neutral oil at the bottom.
Can I roll it?
And
with that?
just fry it on both sides, a couple minutes on each side, so you get some good browning on each side. So I'll show you guys as we make it. Hopefully I'll manage to still pay attention while doing the rest of this. But let me show you some of my, I don't know if
First, I'm gonna do
if
something
you guys have
really
seen
nice.
in the dumpling class, but I'll show you some of my favorite ingredients for a sauce.
There you go. Whoa, 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 that's a little. little-
Black vinegar,
I'll get this.
Okay,
soy sauce.
good.
This is my favorite one, the low sodium Kikkoman.
Yeah.
We've also got
Okay, I'm
sesame
gonna put a
oil,
little flour on it, okay, so it doesn't stick to my.
and I usually put in some scallions that I have left over.
Good job. Yeah.
Hi, Jess.
And you can also make a very delicious dumpling sauce
It's
or
okay.
scallion pancake sauce with sriracha mayonnaise. They're so good together. They love each other. Hi,
Give me
Jessica.
a little time, give us a little time. Everybody can say.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Jessica!
Jessica! Oh, I owe you a call.
All right, look at that, buddy.
So I also like to get a garlic clove, and I just use the side of my chef's knife or a dough scraper like this, and you just smash it so it kind of collapses and it lets the garlicky oils out, but
You
it
wanna do another
doesn't
snail?
put all
You
sorts
wanna
of
do
little
another
bits of
snail or
garlic
leave it
into
like
your
that?
sauce that then end up in your mouth and you have crazy
Good.
garlic bread. So I like a splash of soy sauce, splash of black vinegar, splash of sesame oil, a sprinkle of scallions, a smashed garlic clove, and then maybe some chili sauce, chili oil, sriracha, whatever you have. That's my sauce. What about you, Irene?
Well, because I made a dill pancake and a Parmesan pancake and a scallion pancake, I think I'm going to use some sour cream and maybe some unagi sauce. I love unagi sauce. It's just like a really sweet, sticky soy sauce, my favorite. All right, I'm putting mine in the pan.
I've got one in the pan too.
All right.
If people are on a low sodium diet, which I am, then you can make the sauce only with vinegar. Chinese black vinegar. This is the brand that we often use. This
Yellow
one right
Cow.
here. Yep. And we also add a little bit of sugar. And this is
What
the
are you
traditional. Hold on, sweetie. This is the traditional Chinese sauce for dumplings. Is no soy sauce actually, but mostly Chinese vinegar and a little bit of sugar that's been melted in hot water. And if you'd like the recipe for that, we'll get Irene to put it online. Right, Irene?
Gladly, Mother. Yes.
Thank you. And then we put freshly cut ginger into the sauce as well.
So I have some ginger and some scallions and some garlic all chopped up because I didn't know to crush the garlic like you said. So if I do a splash of each of those 3 items, I can't take spicy, so I'll have to leave the sriracha out. But then do I add water to make it more? I mean, how do I get it up to a certain quantity for all my things I've made?
So I will tell you the recipe from our book. When I make it at home, I just kind of eyeball it. So you might want to just combine those things and then taste it. If it's too strong, add a splash of water. If it's too salty, add a little bit more vinegar. If it's too tangy, add a bit more soy sauce.
Okay.
Yeah. And there are kind of two schools of thought on sauces like this. You know, some people would say you don't want to add any water. You want it to be as sort of concentrated and flavorful as possible. And that's why you make reductions of things. But there is another school of thought that would say you want to add enough water so that because the sauce is so good and it's not too salty or too sweet, you could just practically drink it. And so there are actually some really great like salad dressing recipes that have quite a bit of water in them. And so depending on what you like, you can sort of play around with it both ways. So when I'm over at my mom's house and she has the sort of water, vinegar, sugar based sauce that she likes, I basically like take my entire dumpling and submerge it and just let it like fill up with sauce, right? And then the sauce I make at home is more like just a little dipper. So it's kind of up to you, and we definitely encourage playing around with it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
So much.
So I'll read the one from our book, which is if you want to make a cup and then you can keep it in the fridge for a while. It's half a cup of soy sauce, 1/3 of a cup of black vinegar, and you can always substitute rice vinegar or another more neutral vinegar if you want to, if you don't have the black vinegar.
You said 1/3 cup of that?
Yeah, so 1/3 a cup of vinegar, and it's also sometimes labeled as chinjiang vinegar or jinjiang.
Okay.
So jinjiang is Zhenjing. My mom will correct my pronunciation if that's incorrect. And chinjiang is Chinkang.
Okay.
So that was half a cup soy sauce, 1/3 of a cup black vinegar,
Again?
a
You're gonna do
1/4
a
cup of
third?
chopped
All
scallions,
right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
a clove of smashed garlic, although again, if you have your garlic chopped, that's totally fine. And then a teaspoon of chili sauce or hot sauce, optional, and a teaspoon of toasted sesame oil.
Woo! There we go. Number 1 done. All right.
Ooh, looks good, Mom.
Yep. Well,
So
made it.
you can,
okay.
if your scallion pancake's very oily, you can just put it on a paper towel to kind of wick some of the oil away. But one important thing in my book is to just hit it with a sprinkle of salt on both sides.
Okay. Woo! Good
May I ask a
job.
question? May I ask a question?
Good job.
Yes, please.
Thank you. So was your oil already hot in the pan?
Yeah, I usually give it a minute to heat up.
Okay.
May, do you cover your pancakes when you cook them? Because I do.
Do I cover my pan?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
Do
Yeah.
you? We find this every time we cook together. I was like, oh, we're teaching a class. When we teach dumpling classes together, it's like I fold one way and she folds another way, and I'm like, oh, they both work, so it's totally fine. The steam, I guess, could help cook the top.
Okay.
Is that your thinking?
Good job.
Yeah, I feel like the steam helps get more lift in the pancake. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think you can go wrong really either way.
Good job.
So this is what this looks like.
Oh, that's so pretty.
So I'll cut it up into slices and show you guys.
Scallion pancake.
Okay.
Just made it. Just finished it. It's all so fast. I know, it's just like these things I've never thought to make, but they're actually. You know what I was thinking to do?
I'm good.
Hey, Kira, can you tell our friends where you live?
Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah.
But you grew up in Boston, right? You were born in Boston.
Yes.
Just like Mommy and Auntie Irene. And we go there all the time, don't we?
Not all the time.
Not all the time, that's right.
I wish you were here all the time.
Yeah, because you're not there right now.
That's true. Kira, do you want to tell everyone about the book that your mommy wrote?
Okay.
Careful. The cookbook are we talking about, Irene?
Yeah.
Right.
No. Kira says she doesn't know. Even though this cookbook has pictures of her in it.
Careful, careful. Oh.
So this is our first book. Double Awesome Chinese Food. You might have seen it if you've taken a dumpling class, but we really wanted to break down the process of dumpling making so people could see by pictures. And we do the same thing with Scallion pancakes. So this is the process we just went through. Snail, snake, rolling, everything. And of course, had to show pictures of Kira and how much she has always loved dumpling rolling. Back as a teeny little kiddo.
Mom, can I?
Remember this?
Yes.
Look at you in your little Mickey Mouse outfit.
What am I doing right now?
You were making dumplings. Yeah.
You're
What am
rolling
I
the dough.
doing?
Oh, you're
Hey,
rolling.
Kira, my pancake is done. Do you want to look at it?
So down there on the right.
Ooh, look at
All
that.
right. And
Can I have a bite of the dough?
so
Yeah, here you go. It's gonna be pretty hot, so make sure
3
you
to
go in,
5
okay?
minutes on each side, right? Something like that until golden brown.
Until golden brown is a great way to.
Crispy.
Mom,
Mm.
Do you want to try?
it's
This is a bit of a spicy sauce. Would you like some?
It's not
Would
too
you like
hot
some
anymore.
ketchup
I think
mayonnaise?
It's become a little less hot.
But we are now working on our second book, which is all about using the food that you have to cook a little bit more creatively and flexibly. So it's going to be called Food Waste Feast. Or actually, I don't know if we've confirmed a title, but Food Waste Feast is the project that we're working on, which is the idea of adapting and making sure that you reduce your food waste by learning how to be more creative with what you have. And scallion pancakes are a great example of that, in that, you know, they're called scallion pancakes, and of course you can make them with the scallions, but once you learn the process, you can really put in anything that you have. So if you have fresh parsley hanging out in your fridge, if you have leeks, if you have cilantro or celery, whatever it is, you can sub things out and switch them up. Same thing as if now you've learned how to make dumplings, you don't have to make, you know, pork dumplings with Chinese
got
cabbage.
2 done.
We've got 2 done. You can switch out a traditional ingredient for whatever you've got in your fridge. And that way you save money, you cut down on your food waste. Yeah, yes you can. And it is not traditional, but that's kind of the way we've always cooked, is this mix of the sort of heritage cooking that we grew up making these dumplings and everything, but then just putting whatever we want in a dumpling, adding cheese. Both of us have cheese in our scallion pancakes. It's very, very
Are you gonna say
untraditional,
goodbye?
very
Say goodbye to
delicious though.
people?
And
All right.
May, when is your next book coming out?
We are aiming for spring 2022.
That's so far away. What if
I
I
know.
want to see your amazing recipes and great ideas before then?
So, Irene, you're so good at this. So, foodwastefeast.com is the website that I am very poor at updating, but it exists. And the idea is that you can look by category of ingredients for what you want to make. So, let's say you've got kale, or you've got chard, or you've got collard greens. You can look up recipes that use hearty greens, and you can kind of interchangeably make things that use any one of those. Because if you searched online for kale, you might have a lot of specific recipes that use kale, but once you realize that you can substitute in and out any hearty green, a whole large world of recipes open up to you. And so we have been making all these different recipes and working on what we call hero recipes that can use up a ton of things in the fridge. So I made this fridge clean out fried rice last night, and a green curry that's also in our cookbook, 2 nights ago where I just opened my crisper drawers and just pulled out every single vegetable in there and made a curry out of all of it. So it's nice to have these recipes that instead of going shopping to find a very specific ingredient and then buying more things that maybe you only use half of because the recipe called for, you know, a quarter a cup of this, but you didn't buy a quarter cup, you bought 2 cups of whatever it is. You figure out how to mix and match things and just make recipes a little bit more flexible, and then you don't have random ingredients lying around. So you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Food Waste Feast. And we really love when people ask what to make with the things that they have. So feel free to DM us or write us a message and say, you know, I've got 2 stalks of celery and an apple and a box of pasta, and it's like chopped for us, but with no, you know, if you want to talk about like gummy bears or whatever, we can do our best to advise, but you know, all the things that are in your fridge, we will be happy to help you use them up. Kind of the way Mom cooks, and then we make fun of her, but she was right all along, it turns out. I think that's the motto for Mother's Day.
Maybe you guys could work with somebody to build an app on that, so you could like throw in what you have and then spit some stuff out.
Totally. I have been thinking about that as we get, you know, closer to our 2 years away release date, is that it would be great to have a very searchable way of putting all the recipes together. So you can kind of do it on our website at foodwastefeast.com, but it would be really nice to have an app for that for sure.
Right, and all the free time we have.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Kira, do you want any cheesy pancake?
Woo!
She's watching Doc McStuffins now.
Which one's the cheesy
She's
one?
very busy. I have no idea.
This one?
We should try them all. We'll have to eat them all and find out.
I'll have a bite.
You have a bite? You might need to wait till it cools off a little bit. How about you, Irene? You want to talk about what you've been doing?
Sure. Well, May Restaurant has been continuing to do takeout virtual dumpling classes, which you all know about. And we're also selling some groceries. So if you need eggs or butter or toilet paper, you can go online and order and then come by the restaurant and pick it up. And then we've also been taking this time to do some work with hospitals and essential worker communities, especially immigrant communities. So we're doing donor-funded meals and groceries to different hospitals in the area through an organization called Off Their Plate. And we, on Friday, delivered 100 bags of groceries to the Boston Hope Hospital at the convention center. And that is the COVID temporary hospital. So that was a really amazing project for us, and we have gotten such sweet responses. So that was really cool. And then yesterday, today, and then Monday and Tuesday, we'll be delivering 200 30-pound boxes of food to essential workers and immigrant families in Everett. And that has been an incredible project so far as well. So we're keeping very busy, all things considered.
Being a tech company and a grocery delivery company and a dumpling class company, all those things that you did not sign up for, but have all of a sudden become your life nowadays.
Yes, they call it pivoting.
Yes, so fancy.
When something insane happens and then you have to try to
Something
figure it out.
totally unpredictable. Just so you guys can see, this is my sriracha mayonnaise. It's delicious on pretty much everything. Squeeze of sriracha, squeeze of mayonnaise. You can also make very delicious sriracha ketchup, squeeze of ketchup, littler squeeze of sriracha, but you know, you can do it in any proportions that you like depending on how much you like spicy things. Do you guys want to see Lewis? Hey, Lewis.
May's superpower is mixing 2 pre-made sauces together to form something that is so much more than the sum of its parts. I'm just about to pull my dill and Thai basil pancake off the stove. Hi, Lewis.
Which one do you want? Ooh, sriracha. That's a good one. Sriracha for the
And
baby.
I am going to make some fish sauce sour cream to eat with that pancake. And it follows May's formula, which is 1 sauce plus another sauce equals magic.
It is such a good way of making more interesting things out of the things that are already in your fridge. I'm all about that. Okay. Perhaps this is not the best place for you to hang out, but you have a very nice tum-tum. People might be wanting to see your tummy. There we go.
All right.
Oh, Scallion pancakes. Yeah.
The kid loves to eat.
He does. Working on getting him into that spicy stuff now because his big sister is
I
very
think
resistant.
this is the cheesy one.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just gonna hang out here and eat.
Irene,
pancakes.
you guys will do more classes. You'll continue to do more or like different things from the menu.
Yeah, so we have been having so much fun with virtual dumpling classes. We're actually thinking they might stay virtual, you know, even after all this. We have been R&Ding a noodle class actually for a few months now, and so we're hoping we might be able to launch that. And then, you know, kind of along the food waste theme, we thought it would be fun to do some classes where we kind of explore people's pantries and, you know, work together to figure out what you can make with those lentils and, you know, beans and old cans of stuff that I know we all have in our cupboards. So we thought kind of like a choose your own adventure class would be fun, but we also would just love to hear from anyone else about what kinds of classes you'd be excited about. And May has been doing cooking demos also on Instagram Live for Food Waste Feast. And those are super fun because usually they are taking all manner of things and making them into things that actually look really delicious. Like you made ramen noodles, like fancy ramen.
4 things you can do with ramen noodles, like ramen egg in a nest, ramen burgers, ramen salad, ramen, I can't even remember, all sorts of things with ramen. Cheesy ramen, many things. We did lots of pickle making. We did a bunch of lots of ways to use up bananas. Kira and I made oat cookies today, and then we're going to blend our frozen bananas into fake banana ice cream and make ice cream sandwiches.
Yum.
Yeah, everybody's yelling over here.
So good.
And so yeah, it's been really fun. It's just nice to use up the things that we have and kind of help people with figuring out how to minimize the waste in their kitchen.
Okay, speaking of waste, so my 4-year-old daughter was helping me make dumplings, and so here are a lot of the parts that didn't make the cut. I've tried to salvage together. My own this. What else can I do with this right now if I want to do something, but I don't think I can take these and put them into other dumpling form?
So is it?
It's all of like the wrappers that she put water on.
Got it.
And like the filling that's just now amassed because I don't think that's a good form.
Totally. So I would totally just fry those and eat those.
Okay.
You can get another thing that could be good is, I don't know what you use for filling, but if you could fry them up and then turn it into like a frittata or an omelet, because then you'd have like little crunchy bits from the wrappers, and then you'd have the cooked filling as kind of an omelet filling. So that is another
cool.
Ours is put it in a frittata. You can do that for practically everything.
That's a very key strategy for Food Waste Feast is frittata it. At May,
Scallion pancake is delicious. Thank you, girl. Yum.
does anyone else want to hold up their scallion pancake to show us? How
This
we
is my husband Leo, by the way.
We already
Tests everything.
I'm here to taste test. We have more coming out.
Awesome! Oh, beautiful! Oh, look at that! I can see the layers from here.
Oh yeah.
I want some.
If you made some, and yeah, tell us if you made a sauce, like a mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard sauce, that would be good too.
And at Meme, sometimes when we have made grave errors in dumpling cooking, we will take a bunch of messed up dumplings and press them into a pan and then steam them all together. And then we cut it into slices and fry it. And so it's like a dumpling casserole. And then we try to make it crispy on all sides. So if anyone else has a graveyard of dumplings that they need to do something with, I highly recommend dumpling casserole.
Ours turned out great over here. I don't know if you can see.
Ooh!
Nice.
And we made a sauce.
Best.
That looks good.
I don't know if you can even see this, as I don't want to spill it on the laptop. I don't want to spill it on the laptop, but it is soy sauce, and scallions.
Push on the right hand.
Awesome.
Awesome. That's Irene. Irene, what do you have in front of you?
I have my dill and Thai basil pancake, and I made a sour cream fish sauce combination.
Yum.
And I'm pretty into it. I'll be honest. I love sour cream.
Sour cream, plain yogurt, mayonnaise, creme fraiche, all of those are great to have around and are kind of interchangeable in a lot of ways. I usually try to have just one of them in the fridge at all times, and then you can add kind of any other condiment you want and make a creamy version of it. So I like to make things like chili oil and ginger scallion oil, which are very classic Chinese condiments. They're in our cookbook, but if you want to send us a message, I'm happy to give you guys a recipe. And then once you have them, they're great on their own, but then you could also stir it into a creamy thing and make a totally new sauce. So one of the things that was really popular in the early days of Mei Mei was a ginger scallion oil ricotta, which sounds weird, but it is delicious. Dip everything in ginger scallion ricotta. So good. And I like to make chili oil mayonnaise, chili oil yogurt. I used to buy, especially since I have a kid, plain yogurt to go savory, and then sweetened yogurt or fruity yogurt, but then it was just too much yogurt and it would end up going bad. So now I only buy plain yogurt, and then I can mix jam or honey or maple syrup in it for the kids. And then I can mix in garlic and mint and lemon juice if I want to do something savory, or, a Chinese condiment that is definitely not originally meant to mix with yogurt, but is delicious when mixed with plain yogurt. Sour cream also.
Jess Coughlin, what are you guys making over there?
Hi, guys.
Venison shank ossobuco.
What? Say it again.
Venison shank ossobuco.
Yeah. Is this from an animal that you took down yourself?
Of course.
Awesome.
So we have far afield, and this is the venison ossobuco with risotto that it will hopefully become, no doubt. And then
Wow.
That's using the neck, but we don't let anything go to waste, and most people throw the shanks away. So on topic, we're using the shanks. We have to cut them in half with a big bone saw to make them fit into our
I'm sorry if there are any vegetarians on this hour. We should have had a trigger warning. And of course, we have, the gold standard cookbook of every American household. And I'm getting ready for the dumpling hour, I'm making veggie dumps. So what should I put in my veggie dumps, May I have different kind of Asian greens in the fridge. I have some 5-spice tofu.
Nice.
What am I missing though to round that out?
That is almost exactly one of the early dumplings that we did at Mei Mei. It was 5-spice tofu, chopped greens. What else did we put in? Was it mushrooms?
I think so. I don't remember.
Scrambled eggs would be good.
Our business.
Scrambled eggs, cellophane noodles.
Scrambled eggs, cellophane noodles, if you want something that kind of gives it a little more bulk and flavor.
Water chestnuts for crunch.
Water chestnuts, although if you happen to have water chestnuts in the house, I would be very impressed.
I don't. That would be impressive. I wish. Yeah. I'm planning to freeze these directly. So do any of the ingredients change if I know I'm going to freeze something that has more water in it or whatever?
So what I would say, we've, discovered Irene and I often have different opinions on things, but any dumpling that we make, we just freeze right away. So you don't want to let them sit. Sometimes I've had friends who say oh, my dumplings just got all soggy because I kept them in the fridge. Because you should just once you make them, put them in a line on a plate or a sheet pan, pop them in the freezer, and then you can cook them directly from frozen. So basically whatever you're making.
If I know that I'm going to be freezing them, should I not use a vegetable like bok choy that has a lot of water in it or something? Do you know what I'm asking?
Yes, I do. And I would cook it the same way personally. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Irene. If you sauteed them first, then it would minimize the water content, and that way they would be cooked beforehand. So the freezing versus the cooking straight away. What do you think, Irene?
Yeah. I mean, I would say as long as the dumplings are structurally sound, they'll just be juicy when you cook them.
Like anyway.
Are you saying that you freeze your dumplings?
Sorry, could you repeat that, Rosalind?
So I'm saying, are you saying that you freeze you put the dumplings together and then freeze them without cooking them?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
You put them on a cookie tray, separate them.
Yeah,
So
like
if you're
a
going
flat
to eat
tray.
them, if you're going to eat them right away, then you just
okay.
cook them from raw. But if you are not going to eat them right away, put them on a tray with a little bit of space between. Because if you chuck them all in a bag and put it in the freezer, they would all freeze together in a big.
Right.
So put them on kind of a cookie tray, a sheet pan, or a plate, and let them freeze until hard, and then transfer them to a bag. And then you would actually cook them the exact same way that you would cook them from raw, but just cook them longer. So you would do, maybe 6 to 8 minutes from raw, but 8 to 10 minutes from frozen.
Okay. And you don't thaw them before you start cooking them.
No thawing them, exactly. Straight into the pan hot.
Okay.
All right. So it's almost 5 o'clock, and there's another class that needs the room. So I just wanted to put a last note out there, which is if you've made some scallion pancakes, you can either fry them up right now, or you can stick them in the freezer. You can even stack them up like with a little bit of wax paper or plastic wrap in between them, and then they can go straight from the freezer to the frying pan, as the old saying goes. And so it's such a quick, delicious snack. Highly recommend that you get in there. And also, just happy Mother's Day to everyone. It is such a treat to be with all of you on this lovely afternoon. Thank you all so much for coming. Is Mom still there?
Here I am.
Oh, and if everyone could just say Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
I'm sweeping the floor.
Mother's Day.
Thanks, everyone.
This was the best Mother's Day I've had in forever I can remember.
Oh,
Oh.
come again.
It was so much fun, and I got to visit my kids, even though we're so far away.
Oh,
Wonderful.
Bye, ladies. Thank you so much, Sadie. Bye, Monica.
Are you wearing a dumpling apron, by the way?
I'll call you later. Love you.
Love you too. I'm still making dumplings.
Awesome. All right.
Awesome. And then, folks, if you're already here for the next class, hang tight, and our instructor for the 5 o'clock class will be here shortly. Thank you all so much again. Please keep in touch. Send us pictures of all the beautiful things you cook. We can't wait to see them. And have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you. See you Wednesday for our class.